Come on up, two closest to me. And then 3 and 4. All right. What we're going to read is a sampling from my collection, and I didn't pick out things that I think are good or bad or indifferent. You know, I don't know. I think they're all brilliant. I think they're all wonderful. You know why? They're individual voices. They're what people wanted to say. Let me interject, and I'll make this brief. I hosted open mics for 30 years. 30 years. You know what an open mic is? People get up and they read or they sing a song. 30 years. I've heard over 12,000 poets and an equal number of folk singers. I don't think one of them was any good. But I would not give up the worst poet or folk singer I ever heard for the best hour of primetime TV. It took a lot of courage and profound willingness for these people to bare their soul and get up in front of other people, which we rarely ever do, and say, this is what I am and this is what I say. I love doing open mics. It's critical, it's vital, it's alive. It's not designed to sell you a car or to sell you Subway sandwiches. So, the excerpts here I didn't select, they're random. And this is kind of a montage of things that people have written on envelopes and some longer pieces in the beginning, little stories they sent me just put together. All right. So again, each of this is each piece is by a different artist, probably from a different country. When I was a small boy, my brother and I drew pictures of Superman flying and peeing on the people below. We showed the pictures to our mother, but she was displeased.
There will be, in the future, a paperless society because there will be no trees. Nature will be replaced by information, and the intellect of society will be serviced by cyber-mnemonic prosthetics. The human is still a corporally efficient machine for inputting data, but it is the human's lack of comprehensive memory storage and recall which makes the human rely on pieces of paper to jog the memory. By implementing machine-driven virtual memory, a cyberhuman would have no need to read anything, since electronic access to the collective memory would make the acts of reading, watching, and hearing obsolete.
The following question was recently submitted to the Ling Master. Dear Ling, why am I not invited out to eat more often? Apparently there has been some difficulty in understanding the exact origin of the American sports phrase, "Don't score your points with my ball," which was first heard during the bowling craze of the 1920s. This is derived from an Edwardian cricket expression, "Don't bowl your point at my ball and bat," which appears to have been a variation on an obscure Victorian catchphrase, "Don't point your bat at my bowl." The Victorian may sound senseless, but can be understood when we realize that they substituted the word bat in place of butt, as in the Elizabethan oath, "Forsooth, don't point your butt at my bowl," which is a flowery variation of a phrase often heard at mealtimes in the Middle Ages, "Don't put your butt in my bowl." So evidently, even as far back as the Middle Ages, people like you were not as popular as dinner companions.
By following the simple advice I read in an article, I finally found inner peace. The article read, "The way to achieve inner peace is to finish all things you've started." So I looked around the house to see all things I've started and haven't finished. And before leaving the house this morning, I finished off a bottle of white wine, a bottle of red wine, the Baileys, Kahlua, and wild turkey, the Prozac, some Valium, some cheesecake, and a box of chocolates. And you have no freaking idea how good I feel.
Gentlemen, I am involved in a phenomenal situation which merits investigation. The whole thing started 7 years ago when I began to see Oprah Winfrey when I closed my eyes and concentrated. Through study, I learned that the reason I could see Oprah was because she is violently insane and uses abnormal thinking processes which introject and project others' egos. Besides worrying about my mental health, I also felt that my civil rights were being violated by Oprah's insanity. So I wrote to the FBI. At first, they thought I was crazy. But a year or so later, the FBI told me they'd been getting 800 to 900 complaints a day saying the same thing. Oprah is crazy and interferes with their normal thinking. The FBI told me they're investigating. I believe nothing will ever come of this investigation because Oprah is a good friend of Obama. And should it ever be proven that Oprah is insane, the president's reputation would be at stake. Because the FBI seems to be participating in a cover-up, I am begging you to get involved. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Original red poem postcard. Take a cardboard which is red on one of its sides. Think about someone strongly. Mail it to him or her.
Original B postcard. Take a cardboard, cut it to the shape of the letter B, then think about someone strongly. Mail it to him or her.
Original postcard. Take a cardboard, write on it original. Think about someone strongly, mail it to him or her.
Original handwritten postcard. Take a cardboard, draw horizontal lines as you wish onto one of its sides. Think about someone strongly. Mail it to him or her. Wait,
Bake,
bake,
wait,
bake, drink,
sing,
wink,
drink,
sink, blink, sail it, mail it, mail it, mail it, mail it, mail it. To him,
her,
to
to
you,
her,
to
to
her,
me,
to me,
to me,
to me,
to me,
to me.
Me.
Picture a creature covered entirely in feathers, who, cocking its beady eye, darts about the barnyard on clawed feet, all the while pecking at the ground like a nervous lunatic. Now, it may sound as though I have been painting a small word portrait of a chicken, but in reality, I have been giving a quite accurate description of one of those poets whose work appears in this issue. The idea is for you to guess which one it is. That's what makes all poetry issues so fascinating. You must first go through all the trouble of reading the different poems, and then you have to try and deduce, which nothing more to go on than what you have read, which poet best fits the description of a humanoid chicken.
You couldn't possibly understand blank. The world would be better off without blank. The only good blank is a dead blank. I have a lot of blank friends, but I wouldn't want my blank to marry one. We have a special bond because we're blank.
Lost in some backwater town in Texas. Maybe we should ask them if they got electricity, my father drawled. My mom and all of my siblings laughed. But later on down the road, after some old man climbed off his John Deere to tell us how to get back onto the highway, my mom said, "You know that little blue house was cute." And my brother said, "Dad, did you see that little restaurant? You could have turned it into a real moneymaker." When all my sisters thought, they said the young guy working on his car was a real doll. But I said I wasn't one in the damn place to make a few bucks, and we wasted over 2 hours. My father looked into the rearview mirror and said, "My God, she really is mine after all."